All right. External forms are one of the features that Legal Server has that can really help you in dealing with your clients remotely. This is one of a series of trainings we're doing on features that we have that are particularly suited to remote work and helping clients remotely. The first one we did was on how to work remotely, which we did record in case somebody wants to see that one. All right, so what do they do? External forms are forms that your client can complete when they receive a link to the form that you send them via email or SMS, if you have SMS, from a case. So you're inside Legal Server, you send to the client whose case you're looking at a form for them to complete. And this data actually updates the case. I remember when I first talked with Ivy about this, I was like, oh, what? We're going to let them change data in the case. And we had to think long and hard about exactly how we were going to do that. But lo and behold, it has worked very well for the people who are using it. So you create a form just like very similar to how you'd create a form for one of your own users internally to update information on a case, except you can send that form to a client for them to fill out. So that's what it's for. It looks like somebody needs to be muted. All right, so what does it look like from the user's experience? You're a user inside of Legal Server, you're looking at a case. There'll be something that you put in the actions menu. So hopefully folks on the call know how to create a form and a process and put it on a menu, on the actions menu, because you're gonna need those skills. So from the actions menu, looking at a case, you'll go up and hit the process however you name it. So in this one, the process is send external form link. That's what it's called. And up comes this block, which gives you some choices of what you're going to send. So in this instance, what's on my screen is I'm sending an auxiliary form. I'm sending it via email. The process that I'm directing these people to, because it's still a process, right? If it's got more than one step in Legal Server, it's a process. Even if it has one step, it's a very short process. So you're directing the external user to a process. And this one is the Montana Housing Questionnaire form. This is when the link will no longer be available. And the source email address where it's coming from, in this case it's coming from LS Coders, and where it's going to. So if you have an email address filled in on this case, that should auto-populate to the client's email address. You can edit the subject and you can put something in the body. So you're asking a client, a specific client, to fill out a specific form, is how that's working. The client will receive, so up at the top of my screen right now is an example of what they receive. Please fill out a brief survey regarding your legal assistance. And there's a link for them to click on. As you saw, you can send that via text message if you have the text messaging module, or you can send it via email. All the person has to do is click on that link. And the first thing they're going to see, because we don't want just random people updating data in a case file, it still gives me a little anxiety that they're changing data, because we really care about making sure that stays accurate. And they click on it, and there's just a little bit of validation. So we're already pretty sure it's gone to the right person, right? We've got, hopefully your case data is accurate and you've got the correct email address, the correct phone number for your client. And now one thing they really should know, and we actually thought about this, and I think we talked with Montana about it, what's something, just a little extra validation that isn't too big of a hurdle, and what they'll have to do is put in their date of birth. That also means you need to have their date of birth in the case management system so we can compare it to something. So they type in their date of birth and they'll be able to hit continue. There was a question about the default source email, and yes, thanks Tim. Thanks Tim. You get send Tim a care package. Thank you for your answer. By default, it'll be the primary advocate on the case it's coming from. Some of that may change in the future, as you know, because we're really pretending to be from you. So we're spoofing your email address, because it turns out that that's what people want, is they want to see an email address that they recognize. But as internet, you know, people who do bad things on the internet, as their power grows, there may reach a point where we can't really pretend to be you when we send the email. But for now, it's still working that way. So the client has received this link. They click on it. They are transported to a screen where they enter their date of birth. This is all now will look very familiar to those of you who have online intake, because it uses the same colors and layout and scheme, which we work really hard on to make sure that it looks good on a phone or any mobile device. So they click that, and then they're transported into your process, whatever it is. So this one is a full questionnaire where they can fill in information. And all the person has had to do, all you have to do as an admin is make a form just like you regularly make a form, although over in the external forms section instead of where you generally put your forms, and it will draw like this. So if this form were being viewed inside of Legal Server, it would look like Legal Server. Because it's being accessed externally, it uses the theme that we use for online intake. So the user, you can do all the normal things you can do on a regular form. You can make something required, et cetera, et cetera. The recipient fills in this information. Here's another example. I guess I should also send a thank you out to Montana for being an example here. And they actually advocated with LSC, for those of you who are LSC funded, to talk with them about the validity of having somebody confirm something like them being a citizen remotely. I'm not your lawyer. You guys decide what works for you. But this is an example. You can send this validation. I remember one of the rules was the only thing that can be on the screen that they're affirming is one thing, which is, you know, I'm a citizen of the United States. And then it prompts you to, in this example, it prompts you to type in your name, and it records the date that somebody did that. And you'll see later, it actually also records the IP address from which this happened. So if that makes you happy, you feel like that works, then these are some things that you can do using external forms. I do want to clarify, this does not send, you'll notice, this did not send like a full, here's my logo, here's all my formatting. It didn't send like a picture of a form out for somebody to add one little piece of data in and send back. It's not like that. You could certainly, if you want to look into DocuSign or one of those other services, I want to say one of the programs in Pennsylvania was using DocuSign. If you want to look into one of those, or if you've ever bought a land or a house, there are these whole services that have unchangeable digital forms that record your identity and do all this other stuff. That's not what this is. This does record data. It does provide an audit trail of when it happened, who did it, and what their IP address was, but it doesn't draw a picture of the entire form. It goes and grabs data. So here's another example. This I didn't even know this till I was poking around on Montana's demo site. Clever thing they did, which is they added another screen. It was like, well, how'd you find this experience? Did external forms work for you? Was it easy? Is there a more convenient way? How would you like to be contacted? I thought that was clever. And this actually reinforces the idea that external forms are just like other forms and processes in Legal Server. You can have it be more than one step that the user goes through as they fill out information. And then, and I really like this methodology, you can't go back, right? You can't sort of go back to the user's experience and replay it, because it's a limited time sort of form. But on the last step, you can have the same, it's like a summary, right? You can take the same field that they've just filled out and show them in read-only format what they've just filled out, and this can make a lot of sense. No, so no, Vivian, there's not, like, we can't sort of take this, you know, I mean, there wouldn't be anything to print on the form anyway except their name, right? So this isn't, and I haven't gotten into I'll talk a little bit about the picture of a signature. Oh, what the heck, I'll do it right here. That's the same thing, really. You can put the digital squiggly signature on a form, but that's also just data. So in this example, the person hand typed their name in, and that can work. Maybe I got the question wrong, but I'll finish my thought. Had I put the digital signature on here, it's really, our digital signature tool inside a legal server really just records two pieces of data: a photo of an image of what they signed by wiggling their finger or their mouse around, and then the short blurb of text that they're swearing to, or attesting to. So if you send them a digital signature of, say, a retainer, and your retainer is 15 pages long, the attestation data that's saved in Legal Server is not going to be 15 pages. It'll be whatever that last little thing is. I understand that you're my lawyer signature. It's just those two pieces of data that are saved, along with a bunch of information about when it happened and that sort of thing. But let me read your question again, Vivian. So I must have got it wrong. Okay, is there a way to print the form? No, client can print the form when browser before they submit it. Yes, we actually, there is a document upload. I'm hoping I'm not getting myself into trouble. I'm pretty sure there's a document upload. You can add the document upload block to this too. So you can have them, you could actually, what you could do is put a link to, let's say, a PDF of your retainer on this external form and say, download this. And then, yeah, you could present them with please sign it with ink and upload it. Like what I would say maybe is download this, sign it, take a picture of it with your phone. If you're doing it by phone and then re-upload it, you could do that. I hope that answers the question. Yeah, all right, I know. Attestation block. Okay. Oops, did I go the wrong way? Verification. All right, so note that the data in the case has been changed, right? So if you expose to them, you know, what's your ethnicity or what's your race, and you give them the power to change it, they've changed it in your case. So you want to think about, that's super convenient to have them update the data, but B, don't put fields on there that you don't want the client to be able to change via an external form. Okay, well, it looks like that Vivian's question is continuing the conversation, so let me pause there. We're having people use notes on their phone to scan things with the camera button. Yes, so I guess Notes is a particular app for in the Apple world to scan things with their phone, and then and yes, that could be uploaded. That's right. Oh, it creates a PDF. Okay. You know, and Mike asked if there's anything comparable in Android. I mean, I've been scanning things with or just taking pictures of things with my phone for a long time and just submitting them as JPEG. We just did it for something I had to file with the county not that long ago. I just take pictures. And other than the court system is the only system I've run into so far that's like, oh no, it's a JPEG. What am I going to do with that? There has to be a PDF, even if it's the exact same document. They seem to require that. But Suzanne is saying there is something in Android. Okay, take a picture of it. Doesn't auto PDF, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mallory. I put the chat over there. in my way. Oh, you won. Okay, so once the information comes back, what you have for responses from um, external forms, there is a view where you can see all the responses that you've gotten, what the subject was, the message body, and if I actually click on that, that's this is a list view that you can put on the case profile, so you can see any forms that you've sent, any of that been completed, and then look at that profile. And when you click on it, this is what you see. So if you want to know, I think if anybody, I would be more than happy to defend this methodology, for instance, for citizenship. No, I don't have like a picture of a form, but what I do have is I can tell you what I asked them. I can tell you what they said. I can tell you when they did it, and I can tell you what IP address they're coming from. And I feel pretty comfortable being able to prove that somebody did answer in the affirmative, for instance, to a specific question with this information. Okay. All right. So I'm going to pause for questions, and then we'll just talk about those for those of you, because external forms have been turned on for everyone. It's actually pretty easy, but I will walk you through it. Okay. You haven't been able to find the signature attestation block on your template field. I don't know what you mean. Do you mean you want to put a picture of the image of the signature and print it out on a template? Is that what you're trying to do? Okay, I'll look into it. I understand the request, I really do, but and we will look into it. That's not really what we were aiming to accomplish. I totally understand the idea that what folks want is, here's my full form, here's something that looks like a signature, now I want a picture of that and put it in there. These things really are data. It's what did you prompt, what did you affirm, and when did you do it? And so we're not, I get you're kind of trying to work around, sort of do document assembly with those pieces. Here's one of the weaknesses to that methodology. If you're not going to take a full picture of it, you put it in a template. You could put that signature below any template. So you could put in the template, I do affirm that Mallory Curran gets all my land, you know, when I finally keel over, and then paste their signature on there. Like that's not proof of anything. What is proof is that you have a signature and you have text that we have programmatically linked to that signature, that's what they swore to, or that's what they affirmed. So you can do it, but you're really just doing it, you know, I'll unmute later and we can talk about this, but you're really just doing it so that it feels familiar, right? Because unless you take a picture of the entire image and you make it unchangeable, like DocuSign and the other services do, you're kind of just cutting and pasting something which may or may not be connected to the data above. Hope that makes some sense. Not you can have it. So Mallory, all you have to do is you make a template that says the primary assignment on this case, Mallory Curran inherits well, it's a very small house, but it is, you know, we are in the Finger Lakes and it's lovely. And then you could just paste my signature onto the template, which is you know, not really what we're aiming for. So oh wait, for just a moment. Witnesses. Other questions on external forms? Okay, so lots and lots of use cases. We couldn't possibly even cover them all. I know, everyone wants to see signatures. You can see them. You can audit, they're fully auditable. And the image is actually saved. So again, user experience, you're on a case, you send them a form, you send them to a process that they can fill out, they put in their date of birth, they fill in some fields, you get all kinds of proof that happened, and you can see it in a list view. You can also in detail see what the person filled out. To create this, you can, the first thing you have to do is go into admin, and you create an external profile. Then you create an external auxiliary form. So now what we're building is the profile is what folks are going to see. You need to create an external auxiliary form and an external process. So you're going to put the form on the process. All this is available, should be available to you right now. If you go into admin, you'll see that you can create these things. So profile, a form, and then a process and external forms. And then the other thing that you then need to do is create a process to send that. So first you're creating the thing they're going to land on. And then you actually have to create something inside of Legal Server to be able to send that form out and notify somebody that you're looking for them to respond. So, for instance, the form, right? The process goes on a form. Make a little form called something like send external form. And importantly, there's a critical block that you have to put on there, which is the client survey send request block that you put on that form. And that's the one that has all these doodads. You decide what you're going to send. And so now you have a form with a block on it. That just goes, you just have to create a process to put that into, like send form to client. You can preset some of those so that you can have, they don't all have to, you don't have to make your users pick a lot of different things. You can have send the housing survey to client, send satisfaction survey to client, ask client for, their current county of residence or something. You can do any of those things. I think somebody's doing a basic financial. I think they're sending the basic financial to clients. Okay, so you got a form, you got a process internally. This is for your advocates to see. And then you put your client survey send form on your process and anything else you'd like. So remember back when we saw that Montana also added a form that said, what do you think of this groovy way for us to ask you for information? You can have multiple forms on your, oops, I'm so sorry. That's not right, because I'm focused on the internal one. But you could have multiple multiple forms on your internal one. I can't think of why you do that right now. Okay, and then the last thing, this is all hopefully familiar to Legal Server people, right? You got a form, you got a process. Now you just have to add it to the actions menu, and so that your advocates can, while they're looking at a case, grab it from the actions menu and send it, and that's it. When you send your form internally, let me go back up here, your advocates will reach up into actions, and this is the screen that they'll see and they can send it. So I am way ahead of an hour, but that's really all there is to external forms. So I'm not going to unshare my screen. I'm going to escape. So questions. And this is all anonymized data, so I'll leave it up here. Let me unshare and reshare a little bit differently. You can see just this. There we go. So this is all anonymized. None of this is real. So nobody panic that you're seeing things you shouldn't. This is send client satisfaction survey. This is largely already filled out. You'll notice that this site has SMS, so I can send by email or by SMS. By default, it's going to fill in the client's mobile number if they have it. You can pick when you're going to send it, and that's it. You send it off, and you get a response, and then you can look and see if the person answered. All right. Oh, what questions? Okay. Come in. I don't think so. That's a good question of whether there's a automatic whether there's a automatic notification that there's been a response. I don't think so. I will ask my team how to notify of response. I don't think so. Okay, so actual steps in action. Sure. There's also, oh yeah, I should also point out that the steps are spelled out. I know I can spell. External forms, right? So there's a summary. I think I wrote that quick summary for the impatient. And then it goes through the steps. So actions, new matter, external profile. Okay. All right. Yeah, sure. I can walk through it. All right. All right. All right. All right. Let me go to admin. Processes, forms, and profiles. Okay, so hopefully everybody can get here. If you want to follow along, we'll do it. And Ron or Leah will rescue me if I get stuck. All right, so everyone now should have this lovely new tab called External Profiles. There's a whole bunch of them on this site. Yeah, I don't see any reason why not to create a new one, but let me look at this. I'll show you the one that we were just showing you. We've got some fields and some headers, and that's all you really need to have on it. And remember that sort of read-only view that I had at the end? That's really what we're creating right now. So let's make a new profile. What's a good form that we should have? All right, let's see. We'll do another satisfaction survey. No, wait, let me think about what's something that we might ask folks. We're gonna update their, oh heck, maybe a bad idea. I'll do update the county. Okay, active, sure, it's about to be. Enabled, header. Let's add a header up there so people know what they're looking at. Thanks for updating your address. Field, oh gosh, this is gonna be a whole field set, but what the heck. Let's just pick a random field. Maybe we can do county of dispute. Why don't we do county of dispute? Yeah, what the heck? County of residence. Okay, so we just put the county of residence on there, and that's it. I hit continue, and I have completed step one, which is I have a new profile, which is the external profile, which is address. Sure I do. Didn't I make it active? Oh, what's wrong one? External profile. Address update right there. External profiles are a little bit different. There's the one that I just created. All right, step two. Go down to my instructions. Create an external auxiliary form that the client will fill out. All right, so we need a primary form. And I think we actually have this on a button now. Yeah, there's a button right there for new external auxiliary form. There's also in the actions, I think Ron prefers this methodology. So new matter, external, That makes my head swim. There we go. New external auxiliary form. So these are two ways to do the exact same thing. New external auxiliary form, new external auxiliary form. Ah, you know, I should have made that profile read only and I didn't.
It should be read only by default.
I'm not going to actually.
Profile.
Ah, thank you. Appreciate it. Add continue button. Sure, why not? Field. County or residence. Let's go ahead and add a header. So I'm on a test site. It doesn't matter. Header. I'm a form. Okay, am I going too fast? Okay, I'm address update external form. So I made a profile. Now I'm making a form. And I hit continue. So now I've got a profile and I got a form. Now I just need a process to put it on. Right? So external process for your shiny new form. Processes. So I can go over here and there's going to be, oh, do we not have a button for that? There we go. New external auxiliary process, also available in the actions menu. I'll use the button, which is in a different place just to make sure that you're not, you know, working while drinking. New external auxiliary process. All right, is it complete? Sure. Is it active? Yes. Look at that. And we changed this. For those of you who've been around a long time, I hope that you're excited to see that now your forms, when you create them, are by default sorted by how recently you touched them. So it's right here at the very top. Drag it in. And that's it. I don't think we need to do well, maybe we do. Am I missing an instruction here? Address update. Probably should add that to help. All right, so I hit continue. And now I've got all three of my initial first steps done. I've created a profile. I've created a form. And I've created an external process. So first three steps are done. Now all I have to do is build something so that people are able to actually send that. So your users are actually able to send it. So create a standard auxiliary form and put the client survey send request block on it. I can do that. I feel empowered. I'm on primary forms. This is just going to be a regular auxiliary form, not external. We don't need to do external, just regular auxiliary form. This is going to be send the address update form. Oh, really? That was fast? I'll slow down a little bit. Active. Sure, I want to continue button. All right, so now what I'm doing is making the internal form and process for my staff to be able to, you know, go to the actions menu and send the form. So auxiliary form is going to be called send the address update form. And the block is client survey send request. That's that block that's going to give you the ability to send something out. And here you have the ability to do some editing of what you want the default text to be. I'm going to go ahead and default this to client related to a case auxiliary form. I think that one's right. Really? I'm sorry. I really didn't think I was going that fast. And then we'll make the default method email. So I'm trying to think if we need to put anything else on that form. I think that's all we actually have to put on that form. So do not, Jeff, make sure they do not remove the external link magic in the email. Oh, right. Thank you. Thank you, Tim. 2 gift baskets for Tim. All right, so I made a form. Hopefully that's his old hat for you legal server veterans. I made a form. It's called Send the Address Update Form. And you can't do anything with a form. You need a process that calls it. So let's make a process. Just a regular old auxiliary process. And there it is. And this one I'll name, hey, and send the address update form to client. No, wait, let's not do that. Send update form. Oops, address. Probably should put that in there. Is it complete? Is it active? Sure, it's about to be. Link category. That's auxiliary. And look at that. The form I just created, which I need to put on a process somewhere in order to make it turn into actionable, turn into an actionable item, is right there at the top. So I just drag it into enabled forms. So what do I have now? I have a process internally that has a form on it. So I just have to save. Boy, there's a lot of forms in this one. So I have a process and I have a form that's internal. How are my instructions so far? Create auxiliary. Yes, I did. Add your shiny new standard auxiliary process to the actions menu. This is going to vary a little bit based on your agency and how you do menus. Ron and Xander have taught me that menu boxes are awesome. Still wrapping my head around that, but I do believe them. So I'm going to go to the case profile. I'm guessing this is an older site, so I bet you they don't use menu boxes, but we'll find out. So now I'm looking at a case. Where do I want this choice to be? I want it to be in an actions menu. Where's the actions menu? On a case. So I kind of like to get in there through the front end. Some folks are more comfortable just, you can do the exact same thing from the back end, from the processes section that I was just in. But let's go ahead and edit this profile. What profile am I editing? The case profile. And down here are side and action elements. We have, ooh, goodness gracious, quite a few different flavors of menus and menu boxes. Let's see. Let's reuse one of these. Oh, no, compliance checklist. There we go. How about, oh, that's a view. Custom. I'll just use this custom link box here. Oh, well, that's not fair because I won't have created it from scratch and somebody will say you didn't do it right. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a new custom link box. Yeah. And it refreshed, and I know that's annoying. Oops. Custom link box. My bad. I know, I don't like that either. Then it shrinks back up again. I wish that this stayed expanded. So I'm adding a custom link box. I'm going to name this box whatever. Just I'll name it external. And the process that I'm going to grab from there to put in my external menu item is send update form address. I know, Mike, I know. It's all Ron's fault. No, it's Chris Schwartz's fault. He's the newest worker here. He hasn't fixed it yet. Send update form address, right? So now I've done this part where we are, this is all standard legal server, how to add processes to an action menu. Nothing's different with external forms than your normal manipulation of your menus. So hit continue, and now if I did it right and I didn't make any mistakes, here in the actions menu, I should have a brand new custom link box. Yay! Named external. Yay! And if I click on the external menu, I see send update form address. When I click on that, what do I see? But the ability to go ahead and send the address update process to somebody. In this case, I'll see if I'm on a test site, Ron. I don't know if it's going to let me. Guess we'll find out. Send it to myself. Who wanted me to have to do this in front of y'all? Let's see. Whose fault is this?
I think that was MJ.
Okay. All right. Oh, and Janice. Okay. For Janice. Okay. You don't want to see my inbox, I promise. Will test site send surveys? Yeah, it did actually. So good. I received it. Please fill out a brief survey regarding your legal assistance. I'm going to click on that link. Lo and behold. Oh, heck fire. Important part of testing. I think that, well, let's see. Look, I can look back at the case, fortunately enough, to see what my, what the date of birth was on. So 12, oh, no. I think this is, oh, everybody puts it somewhere different, don't they? 5/8/1986. That's a good one. I like that date of birth. 5/8/1986. Okay, we'll do that. 05/08/1986. And there I am, my brand new process that I created before Janice's very eyes. What's my county? I have moved to Carter County. I'd like to have you know. And I continue. Now, what do I see here? This is actually, remember that profile we created at the very, very first step? It kind of just the way Legal Server, I don't actually know why we have to have a profile. I don't quite get it. Maybe it's so that this has a place to land after the person's done. But that's what you see at the very end of the process externally is that profile. So, you know, I know it kind of hurts the brain to work backwards sometimes, but backwards is how you have to create it. So you have a place to land. And that is it, my friends. We now have on this, we've created an external form. We've then gone and, you know, the good thing is it's easier if you add more. You already have a menu item for it. So it's little simpler as you need to add more. Questions? Jess, I'm glad I recorded it.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I didn't see anything that you were talking about as you talked about it. And right now I'm seeing something that looks like somebody's email that says death listing. So I really didn't follow any of it. Is the recording going to be the same, that I'm not going to see what you were showing as you talked? Or
What do you see right now?
so now I see like a auxiliary saved, you know, a processes page, like you're in the processes, and it says Montana Legal Services up top. And now I see identity verification. Is that what you're showing?
Oh, 1 second. Ron, do you see a case profile, Ron?
Yeah, your screens have looked fine. So
okay.
I think Chris is on dial-up or something. So
okay, I don't know.
Oh.
You may have had something weird's happening, Chris. So yeah, hopefully the recording makes that a little bit clearer. But I think Ron would have hollered at me
I saw somebody
if
else.
the image was not what I was looking at. So yeah, we'll give you a chance to check out the recording. I wondered why you were so confused. I was like, I'm going kind of slow, but sounds like your image was behind at home, Chris. So all right, I actually wanted to check. So somebody asked if we did update the. The only thing is I don't know on this case profile where to find it, but I will go hunting for their county right now to prove it. Address, contacts, client. But the answer is yes. So that just updated their county, which may not be the best example of something you'd actually want to let them do. You might want to just know more about that and get their full address if you're going to change it. I just wanted to. I had a little vapor lock about thinking of a field right off the top of my head that would be useful, but we did it. Other questions while I try to figure out where they put county on this profile? Edit address. Yeah, looks like it updated. I don't know. Tell me what county I chose. Somebody tell me what the right answer is.
It was Lewis and Clark, and you chose Carrier or something like that?
Carter.
Carter.
Thank you, Rod. Good. Hold on. Now I'll show it. Now that I know that we got it right, I will show it. There we go. So the county of residence on this case was changed to Carter by the client in this case. I swear I didn't go, no sleight of hand, I didn't go quickly change that. All right, team. All joking aside, this is, I'll tell you, frankly, when we first started down this path, I thought, I had some concerns about how smoothly it would work and if we'd hear, oh, the forms aren't accessible. We had a couple of bumps in the road, but Montana were amazing partners, you know, being pioneers and giving us feedback about the issues that they encountered, which really weren't all that many, and it just has worked. I mean, partly because it's built on top of the online intake framework. So some pieces they've got to work 10 to 100,000 times a day anyway. So it functions. And if you follow through the steps, and if you're used to creating forms, processes, forms, and profiles in Legal Server, honestly, it's pretty easy. It's the same thing. You just got to pick external for the ones that the clients are going to see. And I don't think we've scratched the surface of the creative uses that people are going to put this to. So you need to get the client to update some information, send it to them. And if you don't want them to actually change like raw data, it's also possible people have done follow-up surveys. So you make a new field, please don't make 100 new fields. You generally don't have to. You can have something that's like follow-up answer 1 and reuse that if you want. You can send them information for them to fill in. They don't have to have your phone number. It's more secure than email for sure. So if you had to capture some information from them and didn't want them to send it via email, you're using HTTPS. You've already done some identity verification based on their phone number or email. So it's probably not as good as them slipping it to you in a sealed envelope hand to hand after showing you their ID, but it's more secure than a whole lot of other ways of communicating these days. So anyway, Ron, anything else you think I should share before we call it on this one?
Not unless you have tips on how to be as awesome as you are.
Ron, said by the guy who does everything around here. I think Ron's cloned himself. Hope you all are staying well. Appreciate your time. I hope it was useful. We're happy to be of help to y'all while you serve your clients, and I hope these tools make it a little bit easier. We will circulate a link to this recording later. Thanks, everyone.